Hey guys, welcome back. Never thought I'd see domestic violence being covered in The Incredible Hulk, but that's exactly what we got in issue 333, which is written by Peter David and drawn by Todd McFarlane. The issue begins with a lady fantasizing about killing her husband because of all the domestic abuse that she's been suffering over the years, only for the husband to come out of the bathroom and see his wife with a gun in her hand, his gun, which he takes and then proceeds to beat her up, as I suppose any self respecting evil wife beating husband would. In the meantime, the Hulk has managed to escape from Gamma Base after wrecking it and travels around, bouncing around until he ends up in a small town. And the sun is about to come up, but before it does, he decides that look, he doesn't want to go back to Gamma Base, which is what will happen when Banner comes back into the picture. So he makes a plan to drink as much as he possibly can, and two things could happen. He could either make Banner pass out from the amount of booze he consumes, or he could kill Banner if he miscalculates just how much he's consuming. But he says, what the hell? I'm going to take a risk. Because he doesn't want to go back. And in any event, even if Banner dies, well, I mean, if they both die, he gets the last laugh, right? So he drinks, he drinks, he drinks, and when the sun comes up, he thinks that he may have actually drunk too much. And it's the end for him and Banner. Anyway, it's not the end of him and Banner. All that happens is that Banner gets a massive, massive hangover and passes out. And the sheriff, the wife beater, basically, who we saw at the start, he finds him in the store and he's surprised that, oh my God, how can a puny guy like this, like Banner, drink so much? Anyway, uh, he grabs a hold of Banner whilst he's zonked out and takes him to jail and just chucks him inside and waits for him to sort of get up and explain the story. In the meantime, we have a look back at the sheriff's battered wife, who reminisces about how the guy used to be good. He was like the school, champion protector who used to beat up bullies and look after the little guy, and basically they fell in love. But when they realized that she could not have children, he became very frustrated, and that was the first time that he hit her. After which he apologized. But then, when the beatings became more frequent later on, he just stopped apologizing and just took out all his frustrations on his wife. And in the end, she just got stuck in a cycle. But finally, she decides to make a move and leave this dick because she's just had enough of getting treated like a punch bag. So we roll back to Banner, who wakes up in prison, and he knows that the sun is going down or has gone down, and that he is about to turn into the Hulk. And so he starts begging the sheriff to let him go. And the sheriff, of course, is an arrogant prick, and he says, no, piss off. I won't. And whilst Banner is protesting, the sheriff makes the mistake of hitting his hand with a crowbar, which is never a good thing to do because uh, you won't like Banner when he gets angry, as the sheriff is about to find out. As the I think night approaches and Banner gets hurt by the sheriff, the transformation takes place. Banner turns into the super duper Incredible Hulk, very easily breaks through the jail cell doors that are holding him, and starts going after the sheriff that has obviously beaten him. His The sheriff's deputy, of course, tries to intervene, but has no effect on the Hulk whatsoever. Now, as the Hulk swats aside the deputy, he gets punched in the face by the sheriff, who still thinks he's a pretty big shot because he's the sheriff, pretty strong guy for an average human. Right, he's not average human. He's stronger than the average human, but he thinks that somehow, being the big shot in town, he can take on this monstrous gray thing that's just appeared before his eyes, which is a stupid thing to do. Anyway, he punches the Hulk in the face with the crowbar, and the Hulk finds it very amusing, and he flicks him out of a window. And I think this is probably the first time that this wife beating piece of crap has ever had the crap knocked out of him, right? So he lands outside of his jail in front of the public, which of course must have been quite humiliating for him. These next few panels are really satisfying because you see this guy, the sheriff, sort of going all out against the Hulk, and he doesn't have a chance. You know this, and I know this. He should know this, but he's clearly a bit stupid. He's doing what he can, and the Hulk just takes his crowbar and just rips it to shreds. Now, there's a story behind the crowbar, which is told earlier in the comic book, which is that the crowbar is a symbol of the sheriff's strength because he took the crowbar from some cronies who were trying to attack him with it, and he bent it in front of them, showing just how strong he was. And so he's kept that ever since, from his college days or whatever. But clearly, it's of no use to him right now. His strength is useless. He is now in the position of where his wife used to be when he was beating on her, and he can try all he wants, but nothing's going to come of it. And reading this, I remember back in the day when I first read this comic book many years back, this was such a great thing to read. I mean, at that point, I was a kid when I first read this, so I didn't know about domestic abuse or things like that. It wasn't something that I'd sort of witnessed or come across myself, and it wasn't something that I was overtly aware of. But even then, reading this, having read the earlier panels and seeing what kind of guy this sheriff character was, it was amazing to see his beat down by the Hulk. Absolutely fantastic.
Anyhow, just when you think that you've seen it all, the battered wife comes back into the mainframe and decides to play the hero by supposedly saving her husband, confronting the Hulk with the pistol, and yeah, I suppose her intentions were, it's one of those sort of like what's that term where you're a victim at the same time you can't. Is that Stockholm syndrome? I don't think it's the same thing. Anyhow, the point is, she still loves her husband, or so she thinks, and she can't stand his humiliation taking place at the hands of the Hulk in front of the entire public. So she intervenes, and unfortunately, the husband isn't very impressed with his wife's actions. He feels emasculated. He feels that his wife coming to his rescue is somehow destroying his image. Not that it hasn't already been destroyed by the Hulk in the public eye, but he doesn't take very kindly to the actions of his wife. In a strange twist of events, the sheriff, feeling extremely pissed off and probably thinking about smashing his wife a few more times in the wrong way when they get back home, grabs the gun. And I think at this point the wife's just had enough because somehow the trigger is pulled and the sheriff ends up presumably dead. Yeah, I think he's dead. He looks pretty dead. On the floor with the wife, standing over him, saying that, "Look, I didn't mean to do that." And the Hulk, being aware of the good and bad side of human nature, decides to say, "Ha, sure you didn't." So he's just rubbing it in. Just goes to show the Hulk is a pretty. I mean, he's not a good guy. He's not a bad guy. He's just a guy, right? I mean, you've just scarred the woman for life. I suppose she's scarred already because she's killed her husband. Anyhow, this issue was, I think, a very well done attempt at trying to tackle the issue of domestic violence. I really do, and I think it was genuinely fulfilling because, it doesn't always happen in real life, but that a bully like the sheriff, there's a wife beater, a violent man gets his comeuppance. Especially in relation to someone bigger and stronger than him, right? So he thinks he's the big fish, but somebody else comes up and bashes him around. It's a very satisfying comic, I thought. The ending was a little dark and depressing because, I suppose it would have been perhaps a better ending if she just sort of ran away and started a new life somewhere in Florida. I don't know. But, to end up sort of like suffering all of that abuse and then she ends up mentally scarred, killing her husband, who she did initially love, of course, and then hates. And I mean, wow, what a messed up ending for the woman. But I think the Hulk had a pretty decent exercise. Or did he? I mean, not exercise is the wrong word. I think he had a bit of fun. Because he put a bully in his place, and I think he genuinely enjoyed doing it. I think some part of the Hulk wanted to make this man suffer for all the the arrogance that the man was showing him. I mean, was he fearless? Was he genuinely brave in taking on the Hulk, or did his Did his arrogance and avarice literally blind him to the fact that he didn't stand a chance against the Hulk? Was it bravery, or was it just arrogance and stupidity? We'll never know. We'll never know, but that's okay, because this was, like I say, considering the dark subject matter of the comic, pretty well done. I thought it was, yeah, I thought it was pretty fun. I mean, if you can even use the word fun. But yeah, that's what I thought it was. It was good to see the surprise when Banner transforms into the Hulk and really lays into these corrupt officials. So yeah, I would definitely say that if you haven't already read this, I mean, even though I've gone through it, there's something about just reading a comic for yourself. So you might want to sort of possibly think about, reading it again. If not, then I hope you've enjoyed this summary of a comic which I think is very, very good, and something I wanted to cover, and something that I haven't seen very much, I suppose, domestic violence. I mean, there is that famous Hank Pym and the Wasp domestic violence, but that's a different kind of thing which took place. This is a little bit different, I thought. This was better. This was better done than what happened there. But anyway, yeah, thanks for joining, guys. I'll probably catch you in the next one.